I'm Ben Whitham. I grew up on a small soldier settlement farm because my late father was a veteran from World War I. A soldier settlement farm, they were formed after the First World War, and they were for veterans who had some experience in farming. He was in the landing at Gallipoli and won a military medal there, then went on to serve on the Western Front in France. The only stories we got were humorous stories, except for talking about Simpson, the man with the donkey, because he dealt with him personally on Gallipoli. I have his personal diary, which he kept right through Gallipoli. Stories right through there, written in pencil mainly, but it survived, and we've had it typed up over the years. Of course, they were forbidden, anyone, and we were the same in World War II, you were forbidden to keep records or to take photographs if you had a camera and they found it. It was supposed to be seized, but there were a lot of people that broke those rules. Well, yes, you were asked on parade, anyone for infantry, anyone for artillery and whatnot, and I had worded up my friend who was with me, say artillery. I think that's the safest. Well, I thought it was. I hoped it was, but I had infantrymen tell me later that they would rather be out doing something than sitting on a gun asking for giving the order fire and just a sitting duck. But yeah, that's personal perspectives, isn't it? In my particular unit, our first posting was to a place not far from Buna called Oro Bay. We were the only Australian unit amongst many thousands of Americans. We were told the reason was because we were better at identifying Japanese planes than the Americans, who were liable to shoot the first thing that came into sight. We found anything that they tackled, it was sheer weight of numbers that they achieved it by. But where we had pick and shovel to make primitive roads, they at least had bulldozers, even in those days. I don't think the poor Americans knew what they'd struck as regards pilfering some of the much better material that the Americans had in the way of stretchers to sleep on and tents to be in, etc., etc. There always seemed to be some humour in life and some funny happenings, and when we first landed in New Britain, I watched two fellows in front of me jump out of the landing barge with their pack and their rifle, and one fellow was a jockey and he just disappeared in the water with his hat floating, and I thought, well, I'll jump a bit further. As far as other service people, Air Force, Navy, Army, friends that I'd known, I don't think any of us were any different. The only things we told each other were funny stories. That was the way of the world. I think at that age, for most men, it's the expectation of adventure. I can't remember an enormous sense of fear. I think our biggest fear was when our troop ship broke down nearing the coast of New Guinea, and we were told there were Japanese subs in the area, because I wasn't a strong swimmer and I wasn't pleased about that. I can only ever remember one time, because you're always with friends, and that was in New Britain, and this was late in the war. It was probably 1945 by then, and Our anti-aircraft guns were right on the sea, and I was sitting on the seashore by myself, looking south and wondering if I'd ever get home. That's the only time I can ever remember feeling homesick. I would never disclose those things personally, and I can't remember anyone else doing that. I have two particular friends living in Melbourne that I'm still in touch with very regularly. And these are two fellows that I first met in 1942, and we've shared a lot of things since. Looking back over my life, the world was different, of course, then. I mean, that's easily said. We depended on each other probably more than they do now. I think Australians in general have made better efforts to commemorate things. They have certainly made much better efforts to look after returned servicemen. I don't believe that we've ever set out at an ANZAC Day to glorify war as war. We remember our comrades.